Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Joe DeChara, CPA extraordinaire, coming to you live from downtown Levittown, Long Island, New York. And I am here with my good friend and partner in crime, Coach YanYan, better known as YanYan Labonete. Is that right? How do people
YanYan
mispronounce
Labonete, Joe.
Laboneta? That's a
Labonete.
beautiful name. I didn't tell you. That
Thank
French?
you.
Is that French?
No, I think American.
Is it? It is a cool name. It is a cool
Yes.
name. But I know that you like French. You like wearing French clothes, and
Yes.
I thought maybe you were part French. But we do have some Facebook users here. Now I don't know about you, but I don't see all. Okay, here's Adele. Good
Hi.
evening. Good evening. I know Marianne is a rock star over on the other side of the world. In the Philippines and soon to be a rock star in the United States. And I want to thank you for going live with me here.
Yeah.
And my team, our Bedrock Babies, they set this up. They came up with all the topics, and I'm looking at this, and I said, why would I want to talk about the top three industries in the U.S.?
Yeah.
I don't know who comes up with these things. I guess it's Bell but I'm
That's my personal choice. That's my personal choice because Belle asked me to choose a topic
oh, so
that.
you're the culprit. You're
Yeah.
the culprit. So I said the top three industries in the U.S. I have no idea. I know there's a lot of them, uh, but maybe you could give me your take on it since it was your idea, Marianne.
Yeah, sure. So again, thank you so much and good evening and good morning. Good morning, New York, and good evening, of course, Philippines and accounting peoples. Shout out to those watching, of course. Shout out accounting people's elites and of course accounting people's in FB group. So we do have now two kinds of group now. But anyway, yeah, I'm the one who chose this kind of topic. But yeah, just to again give you idea why, it's because in 2 years in my freelancing career, I realized there's a lot of potentials in working remotely and the industries that mostly I saw some in the job posts is these three industries. So can I share what are those
Oh yeah,
industries?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. My partner in crime. So anyway, I like that partner in crime. But anyway, just to give you an idea, what is my top three? So this is also aligned to because I choose this. This is aligned with the frequently asked questions during interview. That's why I choose these three. So first
Okay.
one, of course, is the accounting firm. Especially this tax season, most when you notice in the job post and anywhere in the site since December, there's a lot of accounting firm hiring, not only accounting but also tax consultant. Yeah, because you know this April, I think April 18 is the deadline for the payment for the
Oh
tax,
yeah,
and
I don't like those years when they add on extra days, but it's yeah part of it.
yes,
It's not April
yeah,
15th.
mostly April. Also same here in the Philippines. So even in the Philippines, not only in the US, is same. April is the deadline of the tax,
Interesting.
the
Okay.
tax. So even here in the Philippines, mostly accounting firm is the most in demand, and also in the USA. Why? Because again, some of the business owners in the US, of course, there's a problem. Again, what I want to emphasize are the pain points of those accounting firms. Of course, they're the one handle the financial transaction of the company, and including that is the problem with reconciliations. Of course, included also some managing accounts payable, and of course, the end is the generating of the financial statement. Of course, to be prepared in the tax season, right? So that's I think the first in demand industries now.
So let me for people that if they don't know who you are and why you're qualified to talk about this,
Yeah.
uh, I just want people to know who you are, what you're about. So I met you a little over a year ago, I hired you to be part of our Bedrock team. You lasted a month
Last year.
because
Last
you're on a whole different journey. You're on a whole different path, and
yes.
we teamed up. You have your Facebook group, all basically dedicated to helping freelancers uh, get into the freelancing business. In other words, get that freedom,
Mhm.
that uh, that ability to get up 5 minutes before a Facebook Live and go right to work.
Yes.
Okay, and so your group grew from, what was it, 1,500 when we first met, and now it's
Yeah,
almost 11,000.
1,500 now. It's 10,800.
So
Mhm.
you're pretty much a leading expert on the job market. So you have a pretty interesting perspective, one that I don't have. I'm on the other end. I was always looking for people to hire. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. It's not I heard this growing up. It's not easy to find good help. And you don't realize how true that is until you need good help.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised because I tell my people, I said accountants run the world. Okay. It's like what you just said. Without the accountants, you can't add anything up. You can't reconcile. You can't produce financial reports. So I could see how accountants and bookkeepers are in very, very high demand, especially here in the United States. And I'm starting to get the feeling that it's all over the world. So, and for people that don't know me, I am a CPA entrepreneur. I've been, people call it freelancing. I've been a remote worker for over 20 years. As soon as I found out that I don't have to travel to a client, I started doing remote accounting. Uh, so and what happened, Marianne, is COVID pretty much was like a lightning rod to
Mhm.
really put remote working on the map. It's become a whole industry now. When before it was like you were an accountant and you worked remotely, you're a web designer and you worked remotely. Now it's become normal, right? I mean, it's become the preferred way of doing business. Would you agree?
Yeah. No, until such time I realize again before I enter this kind of career, I also don't know it's really possible until I realize that's the good thing about pandemic. They're able to give us another opportunity. So I believe every problem there's opportunity arise. Same with
Yeah.
the with the industries. If you have a problem with a client, there's also opportunities for us accountants. And the good thing about our career is so in demand, not only again in the US, all over the world, because business runs of course for the accounting. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask your opinion. So I
Mm.
know, because I've hired people from your group. I've met them, and for the most part, I think that they were all experienced, skilled accountants already.
Yeah.
What about somebody that has no experience in bookkeeping or accounting? Are you
Yeah,
encountering any of them?
that's a good question because I've noticed also this recent month we encourage for those people who wants to try this kind of industry being a bookkeeper. So most of them are not accountants. Although I have a disclaimer, of course, that being an accountant is hard in a way that there's a lot of technicalities, wording that you need to understand. But basically, being a bookkeeper is something you can learn and can be trained. It's just a matter of it doesn't. That's the myth of being an accountant. They told us we're in good in numbers, we're high income. There's a myth coming there, but I believe it's only a data for a bookkeeper. It's a data entry. Of course, you're good in analytical and logical thinking. So if you're a person like that, I think you can be a bookkeeper. And eventually, of course, all the accountant is different. It's a profession, but a bookkeeper can lead into something different path of career.
Yeah, so you know my story with my mother. You know, she was retired, taking care of my grandparents, and she really had no formal bookkeeping training. And this was, you know, my story when I learned about remote accounting, and I trained my own mother to do bookkeeping, and she pretty much ran my business for over 15 years. So she wasn't just doing bookkeeping, she was doing accounting, she was doing payroll. So she became an integral part of my business. I didn't realize how important she was until she retired. So, but it is, you know, I didn't realize how it was pretty impressive, you know, to take somebody, she's already retired, no experience, and that opened my eyes. I said, because we could really change people's lives with the working remotely.
Mm.
And now I see the real power in it, where we've you know, I've traveled all the way across the world to
Mhm.
connect with people that could do accounting for us in America. So that's a top. So you would say, based
Account.
on your, you know, what
Mhm.
you see in the job postings, and you're there all the time, that there's a lot of accounting and bookkeeping opportunities.
Yes. Yeah. Recently, I have met some of course, referrals coming from my network. Mostly, they're trying to open now accounting firm. I think I have three in the list. And now, before we onboard this call, I have one referrals that also needs an accountant. So means there's a huge demand in this kind of career, and they really need badly need good accountant. Not only this tax season, for the whole, for the entire business as well. So that's accounting firm.
Okay, so what's number two?
Number two for me is e-commerce, because a pandemic, after pandemic, people also buying something online. So this the top industries: Amazon, eBay. Here, even in the Philippines during pandemic, there's a Shopee and Lazada in the Philippines, and now there's different kind of platforms open for this kind of opportunities, having an online selling. Although before pandemic there's an online selling, but now it's so in demand that anything you can buy online. And then the problem is, some of the business owners, especially in the US, although they have a current job, they have a full-time job, they want another extra job, which is they found it into e-commerce. So this is the other side hustle. So they just want to put a store, and eventually not only a bookkeeper. Actually, those Amazon VA, those virtual assistant, there's a lot of demand on being a virtual assistant for being an e-commerce business, and it follows the bookkeeper. So again, the problem with the e-commerce bookkeeper, I realize, in a way, it's so complex, because you need to have there's a multiple channels. Of course, there's a different kind of marketplace: Amazon, Etsy, Shopify, and then of course including that is the inventory. You have to manage the inventory. Of course, the sales tax compliance, which is the nexus. And one more thing, I always give these tips during interview: how to win the clients of e-commerce business. You have to emphasize the payment processing fee, which is so complex when it comes to reconciliations. So when you mention that during interview, for sure you will be hired, because you understand their pain points. It's very hard, right? So
Well,
PayPal,
you've become a real expert at knowing people's pain points and
Stripe.
uh, the different industries and what people actually go through. And I think that's the key to you landing, you know, so many, getting so many offers and opportunity, because you know how to talk these people's language. You know the terms, you know, like the what did you call it? The merchant fees, the accounting for the e-commerce. Uh, but you know,
Market.
yeah, and for e-commerce, I could see it's not just accounting. The e-commerce industry, that there's all kinds of, like, you know, you need
Mhm.
marketing, you need somebody in the back end. So yeah, the e-commerce I could see is huge, because another thing is because you mentioned that it's not just people that want a business, it's people that have a side gig,
Side gig, yeah.
right?
Mhm. Yeah,
So
that's
when
why
I,
I include e-commerce business as top two on my list as top three industries based on my observation and in a way research, right? Because
yeah, and
there's
I could see that. I could see how e-commerce is huge
Mhm.
now. I'm thinking about my own client base. I have my mother has an Etsy store. My son-in-law has an eBay store. So
Yeah.
that's two right there in my own little circle of family business owners. So what's number three?
Number three would be, of course, the real estate. So I say real estate because, again, in the US, even in the Philippines, it is something, if you're a business owner, I'm thinking if you should have a passive income. And real estate is the top kind of way of other avenue of income because as a business owner will just not depend on other one income just like you're working, so you have to, again, another side hustle, which is having invested in a property. So that property will incur, of course, income, passive income. So real estate is top three on my list. Of course, there's again the pain points, of course, of normal real estate business. Of course, yung managing rentals, and then of course tracking of expenses because there's a lot of expenses, including the maintenance, of course, insurance, mortgage payment, and there's also some confusion when it comes to security deposits, tenants issue. So you have to be attentive on that or be keen into details when it comes to real estate. And of course, the important is of course the capital expenditures of the real estate. So you need to be understand that. Although I know it's a higher level of accounting, the fixed assets, how you will depreciate, and how it affects to your taxes. So also dealing with different kind of tenants and lease agreements, right? So I think, and that's my third industries so far, based again on my opinion
Yeah,
and
and again, I have to agree with you. Just looking at my own client base, because there's a lot of people just doing Airbnb businesses.
yes,
I see people now, they're renting places and sub renting it out. I mean, it's amazing. And some of these
Mhm.
businesses, you could start with little or no money. It used to be, like a real estate business, you needed all kinds of investors, you needed big money. Uh, but now that yeah, that industry is flourishing. My own client base, I could see we have a bunch of real estate people. Uh, so how would you advise somebody, let's say they're still stuck in a corporate brick and mortar job, okay, and they
Mhm.
want to break free. Okay, maybe they don't have a lot of experience in anything. Maybe they just worked in an office, maybe, and they're thinking, well, how can I become a freelancer? Okay, I have,
Yes, yeah, that's good
so,
question as well. So there's the in the group there's a lot of member that's from corporate transitioning to this kind of industry. My first tip would be, of course, you have to set your mindset. You have to prepare yourself for something different environment, because this one I teach them to change their identity. Being a corporate is totally different from being a freelancer, because freelancing is a business. So if you're a business owner, you have to consider a lot of things. So it doesn't it also requires extra effort in a way. I told them you don't, because before they said 8 to 5 and that's it. In freelancing, it mostly 12 to 14 hours, or sometimes you're not sleeping at all. But that's the goal, because if you want to be a boss or a business owner, you have to be an entrepreneur mindset. So this is the first thing you have to consider. You have to assess yourself. Am I a kind of entrepreneur? Do I have this kind of uh, identity that I can be a business owners? Because if not, you should take consideration to try this kind of career.
well, I
Because
think what you're alluding to, and I experienced this, I think you're talking about discipline. Because when you have to go somewhere on a regular, it's pretty simple. You get up in the morning, you take a shower, You get in your car, you get in the train, you go there. But when you don't have to go anywhere, it takes discipline. You know that there's all kinds of distractions at home. Uh, so it does take a special. I don't know if it's for everyone. I don't know if everybody could work at home, but because it is an adjustment. I see it with the people that start with us because all of a sudden they're not spending the time traveling to the office. And now maybe their kids are home and their kids want them to, can you feed me, mommy? So
Same.
it does take an adjustment. So you're saying it's more like even if you have a position, it is more like being your own boss, right?
Yes. So I agree. Although again, in preparation of transitioning, yeah, consider again your mindset. You're changing your identity into corporate employee to a business owner. I think that's the first thing. And of course, is if you want to transition, you have to save at least 2 to 4 months income, because in your first 2 months in getting clients as freelancer, it's very hard, especially if it's totally new to you. You don't know how to apply, how it works. So that's why we have this kind of community helping each one who how to start, what's the first thing to do. But based on my experience, uh, again, it depends on how you will work, how fast you want to achieve your goals. If you want to finish or have a land a client in 30 days, you have to take more actions and doing things rather than waiting. And then 2 to 4 months of income, and then just in case landing client will take 1 month at least, just a newbie at 30 days of getting clients.
So what if I just said, well, I'm not going to go 100% in. I'm going to keep my day job and I'm going to become a freelancer little by little. Is that an
Yeah,
option?
that's okay. Yeah. Earlier we have talked about that because there's a fear that there is no fixed income on being a freelancer. I
Oh,
can
that's scary.
That's scary because your life is totally life changing when you it's a life changing decision when you jump into something's totally new to you. Then you have to make a decision in one snap that I will resign, I'll transition from. But again, it takes a courage and going out on your comfort zone because you want something better to your family. So it's just a matter of challenging yourself or taking a risk in a way. Again, it's a business. Any business take a risk. So if you really want to take a risk, and if you want to increase your level of income, you should try another avenue of income. Just like in the e-commerce, if you don't want, you can do it as a side hustle. Until such time, you already know how to freelancing works, you can resign. But eventually, if you're not ready, fixed income plus a side hustle will do. But then again, being a freelancer, you should do it daily. After work, you should learn something new, improve yourself, and then of course listen to those seasoned freelancer and upskilling, and then yeah, listening to other people, just make a normal conversation, a daily communication or conversation to any people that you met,
So
planting seeds.
basically, you're saying, you got to take action. I
Of
think
course.
if you're, yeah, I think if you're not a person of action, I don't, this probably isn't for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just happy, you work at a bank, you're comfortable getting a paycheck, then don't become a freelancer. Would you
Mm-hmm.
agree?
Yeah, because again, it really takes a guts. Really, it's very hard in a way that it really, yeah, you mentioned discipline and a determination, grit, determination.
Yes, I agree.
Mhm.
And so what else?
So that's my top three industries. Although there are some, I've met some clients in the US. They want, because as a freelancer, the frequently asked question that I receive, what market do I need to serve? As a newbie, what client do I need to learn or to serve first rather than the real estate e-commerce, because there's a lot of complexity in the e-commerce. So I encourage them or advise them to start with those service based industries like cleaning services, coaches. So meaning the sales is only service income, and then there's no inventory at all. And the expenses in that case is a recurring expenses. So it's easy to manage.
Right.
So that's my advice to them as a newbie.
So I understand it's not easy. Nothing worth anything is ever easy, right? But it's doable,
Yeah.
right? In the how long have you been doing this? 2 years now?
2 years. Although March 2021, I'm still in the corporate, but I resigned August 2021. So again, my transition from corporate. So that's why I can relate. From corporate, I transition for full-time freelancer in 6 months because I really don't want to be on the corporate job anymore. Just so happened that time, of course, considering the fixed income and the side hustle. So I combined the corporate plus the side hustle, and then I jump into freelancing. I already choose my path, and that's it. And the rest is history.
Still history in the making. You've come a long way, and I could see that you're making a big dent in people's lives, and God bless you for that.
Thank you.
I saw that when I first met you. I said you have something here because you're serving a lot of people, and what you're
Thank you.
doing is working. So give me, I've seen a bunch of success stories from people in your group and in our courses. Give me some of your most heartwarming success stories that you've seen people uh, transition from corporate, to
Mhm.
full-time freelancing.
Actually, facing their fear and saying that they realize they can do it, and again the money will follow. I always believe being hard is only the second in the line because it's just the result of your hard work, but the first step of the success is already happening at the time you decide to be a freelancer, because again it's a totally different environment, it's a totally different identity. So every time I receive, I told them the success is not about monetary. The success is the everyday doing your thing or doing something that will help your business. So having an application sent, being interviewed, getting rejection, ghosting. So those things is already something
Yes, so
important.
you just mentioned a couple because it's not all puppy dogs and rainbows. You're
Yeah.
going to get rejected. You're going to get people ghosting you, right?
Yes.
And it could be disheartening. And that's why, I think you talk about having grit and tenacity. So
Mm.
nobody likes getting rejected. But, also what you talked about, and, another reason why I like you and why you're successful is it all comes down to those little habits, right? Comes
Yes.
down to those little things that you do every day, going in, updating your profile, uh, going on the job boards, applying for positions, doing how many, you should keep track of how many interviews do you do.
Maybe 500 to 1,000. And how
You
many rejections? I will count my rejection because when I started, there's a lot. Until now, I told my mentees to daily habits. Every time I still check the LinkedIn, the online jobs opening. I make sure this is my tips to them. Again, planting seeds. This is the real secret of maintaining your business is to plant a seed. Again, make a conversation daily and then talk without anything in return or just hidden agenda. Just talk them as genuine, and yeah, that it will comes the client will come easy and it will lead to a client. You'll never know.
yeah, for you after a while it starts to feel easy, right?
Yes.
But another thing that you do that impresses me is that you're not always uh, just looking to land a client, because I've seen you'll tell people if I'm not the right fit for you, I have over
Prefer.
10,000 people in my group I could refer to you.
Yes.
So you're always just trying to serve people and make matches, right?
Yeah, you call me the connector, so I love that title, the connector.
You are. You
That
are.
was
It's really it's a blessing. And like I said, you're helping a lot of people. I see a lot of people directly that you help, uh, and just indirectly, you're empowering people. You're letting them know that it's possible. And I think, if anybody, and this, you have a large follower, and they're all saying hi.
Thai
Thank
accounting
you
people.
so
So
much. Hi, Coach Yan. I'm really jealous. So I'm jealous of you. But
Bedrock. Bedrock baby hello at
yeah, I
first week.
think, so for anybody, if you're watching the replay, please give us a hashtag replay. I do go back and see if anybody has questions for Coach Yan or me, you can put them in the chat, and I will get back to you. Marianne will get back to you. But I
Yes.
think, what I'd like people to leave this interview with is the fact that it doesn't matter where you are right now.
Mhm.
If you put your mind to it, you could become a freelancer. You could have your own career, even if you don't have any experience. Okay, if you want to be a bookkeeper, if you want to be a graphic designer, it's really unlimited. Would you agree with that, Marianne?
Yes, of course. Of course. Yes.
I mean, if you want to start a business, if you want to work for somebody, if you want to have your own agency, you know,
Mhm.
it all starts with your desire. And I think what I've met your family. You're a family person. You're a mom, and I know that you value that time with your family. I know I do, and if that's your why, that's a pretty strong motivator,
Thank you.
right?
Thank you.
Isn't it nice to be able to get up at 4 in the morning and drive your son to school, and then you can come home and go back to sleep, right?
Yes, yeah. Wake up in the morning, then take a nap, and then go back to work, and then pick my son at school. So that's the daily routine and work. You know, comfortable life. Maybe that's the real reason why. Because I believe everyone deserve a good life, right?
Yeah,
So
and you had it. There's really freedom in freelancing, right? A big freedom in taking control of where you work, when you work. Uh,
mhm.
you, it's God's plan, you know. He wanted
Yeah,
us to be with our family, to be free, really to be free. That's what I believe. So you
everything.
are you are a gift from God, Marian. I'm glad that we know each
Thank
other.
you. So
I'm glad,
flattering. Yeah. Thank you so
glad you're on
much.
my
Same to
team.
you. Yeah.
And okay, that's it. That's our story. We're sticking with
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank you so much, Marian. God
Thank you
bless.
so much.
Have a great night and a great weekend.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.